All right, so today we're diving into a pretty wild cybersecurity incident.
Oh, yeah.
One that involves the US Treasury.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, any old data breach.
Right.
This one is being called a major incident by the Treasury itself.
Mm-hmm.
So to really break this down, we're
Yeah.
going to be using a BBC News article
Yep.
that came out on December 21st, 2024.
Gotcha.
It's called US Treasury Says It Was Hacked by China in Major Incident.
Interesting.
And the article uses sources from within the U.S. Treasury.
Okay.
And even has a quote from a Chinese embassy spokesperson.
Oh, wow. So we're going to get both sides of the story.
Yeah, so we're going to get, we're going deep into the cyber mystery, trying to figure out, what happened?
Right.
Who are all the players involved? And what it all means.
What does it all mean? I think that's the question everybody's asking.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fascinating how complex this is. You know, you have international intrigue and cutting-edge technology.
Yeah.
And so many unanswered questions.
Absolutely. So let's start with the basics.
Okay.
The U.S. Treasury thinks that the hackers are a China-based advanced persistent threat actor.
Mm-hmm.
So for anyone who's not, super fluent in cybersecurity jargon,
Right.
can you kind of break down what an APT is
Sure.
and why that's significant in this case?
Yeah, so think of like a highly skilled team of hackers.
Okay.
Not just, some guy in his basement,
Right.
but like a whole group.
Mm-hmm.
Often they're backed by a nation state,
Wow.
operating with a ton of resources
Okay.
and a lot of patience.
Oh, so this isn't like a smash and grab.
No, they're not smash and grab.
Oh,
It's a
well,
long game.
Gotcha.
They want
Yeah.
sensitive information,
Yeah.
strategic advantage.
Okay, so they're like digital spies
Yeah, you could say that.
playing this high-stakes game.
Exactly.
And this incident took place in early December 2024.
Mhm.
How did they even get into the U.S. Treasury systems? I mean,
With
you'd
the-
think they'd have Fort Knox-level security.
Yeah, you would think.
Right.
Well, in this case, it seems
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they exploited a vulnerability.
Okay.
That was in a third-party service provider,
Okay.
a company called Beyond Trust.
Beyond trust. Okay.
Yeah, the Treasury used Beyond Trust for remote technical support,
Okay.
which is, it's a common practice,
Right.
but as we can see here,
Yeah.
it can create,
It creates kind of an unexpected entry point.
a backdoor,
So
basically.
even with the best defenses,
Mm-hmm.
you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But what did they actually get away with?
Yeah.
What was the damage?
That's where it gets kind of unclear.
Okay.
The article says they got into employee workstations
Mm-hmm.
and some unclassified documents,
Okay.
but it doesn't say,
Like what kind of documents?
like what kind,
Okay.
or how long they were in this system,
Right.
which,
Yeah. That just makes it even more mysterious.
it does, doesn't it?
Okay. So we have a major government agency that's potentially been compromised.
Yeah.
We don't know the full extent of what was taken, and everyone's pointing fingers at a China-based actor.
Right.
But hold on.
Yeah.
Can we even be sure it was China?
That's the question, isn't it?
I mean, isn't it super hard to definitively prove who's behind a cyber attack?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Okay.
Investigating APT attacks
Yeah.
is like trying to track a ghost.
Wow.
They use all these layers of servers and proxies.
Oh, to hide their location.
Yeah, to hide where they are.
Okay.
And their tools are often custom built,
Right.
so they leave basically no traces.
Wow.
So even with, the FBI's resources, it's
Mhm.
incredibly difficult to say for certain who did it.
Okay, so that brings us to the response, or at least what we know about it.
Yeah.
The article says that the Treasury is working with the FBI,
Mm-hmm.
but what does that actually look like?
Yeah.
What goes into an investigation like this?
Well, it's a huge undertaking. You've got forensic analysts going through logs,
Oh, wow.
trying to retrace, the hacker's steps,
Okay.
within the network.
Mm-hmm.
They'll analyze malware samples if they can find any,
Right.
trying to, identify,
Yeah.
specific signatures that might point to a group.
Okay.
They'd also be coordinating with, intelligence agencies
Oh, wow.
to look for any evidence from signals intelligence or human sources.
So it's not just tech wizardry.
No.
It's a full-blown investigation.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What about Beyond Trust?
Right.
The third-party provider.
Yeah.
What role are they playing in all of this?
So to their credit,
Yeah.
they detected the suspicious activity,
Okay.
notified the Treasury, and took their service offline.
To contain the breach.
Yeah, to contain the breach.
Okay.
And that quick action was, super crucial.
Right.
But it just shows how risky it can be
Yeah.
to rely on these third parties.
Yeah, it's a catch-22, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, you need so many of these external services these days.
Exactly. You can't operate without them.
But it creates these vulnerabilities.
Yeah. And you never know which one is going to be the weak link.
Exactly. This is starting to feel like a real-life spy thriller.
I know, right?
But before we get too caught up in, like, all the technical stuff,
Yeah.
let's not forget about the other side of the story.
Right.
The Chinese perspective.
Exactly.
So,
And of course, they deny it.
yeah.
They're pushing back against these accusations.
Right.
The Chinese embassy spokesperson, what was his name? Liu Pengyu?
Yeah, Liu Pengyu.
Called it a smear attack.
Okay.
And to be fair, he did say
Yeah.
that it's really hard to trace the origins of hackers.
Yeah.
Which is true.
But wouldn't accusing China like this, even without, like,
Yeah.
solid proof,
Right.
wouldn't that just escalate tensions?
Well, yeah, I mean...
Especially given, like,
Yeah,
the already kind of delicate relationship
exactly. It's already a tense situation.
between the U.S. and China.
Yeah, absolutely. This incident just adds another layer to that.
Yeah, yeah.
It becomes about trust and evidence and, the possibility of miscalculation on both sides.
So we have the U.S. saying it's China, China denying it.
Right.
And the truth is probably somewhere out there,
Lost in the ether.
in the murky depths of cyberspace.
Exactly.
But wait, there's another twist to this story.
Oh.
The article mentions another high-profile U.S. breach that happened around the same time.
Right.
And this one targeted telecoms companies.
Telecoms companies.
What's the connection there?
Well, this other breach with the telecoms companies,
yeah.
it's really troubling.
Oh.
Just imagine if they got access to phone records
Oh, gosh.
of, like, government officials.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be valuable intelligence.
Yeah. Wow.
To go along with the financial data from the Treasury.
Right.
It really looks like a coordinated campaign.
Hold on. If those two breaches are connected, it raises the stakes even more.
It does.
It's not just like isolated incidents anymore.
Right.
This could be like a bigger, more organized cyber campaign.
Yeah, potentially.
So what could be the motive behind something like that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
To understand the motive,
Yeah.
you need to understand who's doing it
Okay.
and what their objectives are.
So that brings us to our next deep dive,
Exactly.
unpacking the world of APT actors.
Oh, that's right. So welcome back to our deep dive.
Yeah. We've established that, there's a lot we don't know about this whole Treasury hack.
Yeah.
But to really get to the why, we need to understand the who.
Okay.
So let's try to, get inside the minds of these APT actors.
Okay.
Who are they?
Yeah. Who are they? What motivates them?
What are they trying to achieve?
Yeah. What are their goals?
Exactly.
It's like we're trying to, profile a criminal mastermind or something.
But their weapons are code.
Yes.
And the battlefield is the digital world.
That's a great way to put it. Remember APTs.
Yeah.
These aren't your average hackers.
Right.
Who just want, a quick payday.
Right, right.
These are highly organized groups.
Okay.
Often, as we said, state-sponsored with long-term objectives.
Gotcha.
They're playing a strategic game here.
Yeah.
And information is power.
So in this case, what would the U.S. Treasury's data give them?
Right.
What's so valuable?
Yeah, what's so valuable that they go through all this effort?
Exactly.
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
Access to Treasury data.
Yeah.
It could give them insights into, sanctions, upcoming sanctions, trade negotiations, even, vulnerabilities in the U.S. financial system.
Wow. So it's not just about stealing money.
No, not at all.
Okay.
This is about leverage on a global scale.
But how do they actually pull these attacks off? I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about one of the most secure
Right, supposedly.
institutions in the world, right?
Yeah, you'd think it'd be impenetrable.
Right.
Well, they're patient,
Okay.
strategic,
Mm-hmm.
and they're masters of deception.
Okay.
One thing they often use,
Yeah.
it's called spear phishing.
Spear phishing.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's like a super targeted email scam.
Okay.
So instead of just sending out, random messages.
Right. The generic ones we all get.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
They research their target.
Oh, wow.
They might even impersonate someone you know.
So you're more likely to click on it.
Exactly. Make you think it's legit.
So it's not just about,
Right.
brute force hacking.
No, it's not just about breaking down the door.
Yeah.
It's about social engineering,
Okay.
playing the long game,
Right.
exploiting human weaknesses.
Yeah, because those are often easier to exploit than the tech itself.
Sometimes, yeah.
And they might even, like, gain access through something that seems totally harmless.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Like a compromised software update.
right.
Or, as we saw in this case,
Yeah.
that vulnerability in a third-party vendor.
And once they're in,
Yeah, once they're in,
they can, like, lay low for a while.
they can lie dormant for months,
Wow.
just quietly gathering info.
That's kind of scary.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, if they're so sophisticated.
Yeah.
How do they stay under the radar for so long?
They're experts at covering their tracks.
Right.
They use custom-built malware.
Okay.
So it's designed to,
Evade detection.
evade detection, yeah.
Okay.
And they're constantly adapting
Right.
to stay ahead of whatever the security measures are.
It's like a constant cat and mouse game.
Exactly.
Okay, this is feeling more and more like a spy thriller every minute.
I know, right?
So what can we do?
Yeah, what can we do?
Like, can we even protect ourselves from these guys?
It's a challenge, for sure,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't say it's impossible.
Okay.
First step is awareness.
Okay.
You
Okay.
have to understand that these threats exist
Right.
and how they work.
How they operate.
And then you got to implement strong security practices.
Okay, so like the basic stuff.
Yeah, like strong passwords,
Yeah.
multi-factor authentication.
Right.
Be careful about suspicious emails,
Yeah.
and keep your software updated.
So that basic cyber hygiene is still important.
It is. It really is.
Even against these like super skilled attackers.
It's the foundation.
Okay.
But at an organizational level,
Right.
it's got to be more than that.
Okay.
They need like really robust security solutions.
Okay.
Intrusion detection systems, regular penetration testing.
To like find and fix vulnerabilities.
Exactly. Find them before the bad guys do.
Okay.
And this is crucial.
Yeah.
They need to train their employees
Right.
to spot and report phishing attempts.
Okay, so it's like a combination of tech and human vigilance,
Yeah,
like a layered approach to defense.
exactly. Multiple layers of protection.
But coming back to the US Treasury,
Yeah.
if they were using like this third-party vendor,
For support, doesn't that mean there's a weak link?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Third-party vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
Huge concern.
Okay.
You need to carefully vet your vendors,
Okay.
make sure their security is good.
So it's like having a back door in your house.
Yeah, it is, kinda.
You got to be really careful about who you give a key to.
Exactly. You don't just give it to anyone.
Yeah, it seems like no matter how secure you try to be,
Yeah.
there's always like another vulnerability lurking.
There's always something, right?
It can feel a little overwhelming,
It can be.
but
Yeah.
I guess understanding the adversary
Yeah.
is the first step to like really defending yourself, right?
It is. The more you know about them,
Yeah.
the better you can protect yourself.
Okay, so we have the U.S. saying it's China,
Mm-hmm.
China saying it's not them,
Denying it. Yeah.
and experts saying it's really hard to know for sure.
Right. Attribution is tricky.
Yeah, it all just sounds very, like, murky.
It does. Very ambiguous.
So how do these incidents, like,
Affect how countries relate to each other.
that's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, I think this incident really shows
Yeah.
how important cyberspace has become.
Yeah.
It's like a battleground
Right.
for different countries.
The nation states.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cyber attacks,
Yeah.
they can be used for so many different things.
Right.
Stealing intellectual property, disrupting infrastructure.
Wow.
And because it's so hard to prove who did it,
Yeah.
it's hard to retaliate.
So it's like a new kind of warfare,
It is kind of.
but with digital weapons.
Yeah, and virtual battlefields.
That's a pretty scary thought.
It is, yeah.
But what does this mean for, like, the average person?
Right.
Are we just, like, pawns
Yeah. Are we all caught in the crossfire?
in this, like, cyber Game of Thrones?
I mean, it's easy to feel that way,
Yeah.
but there are things we can do.
Okay. Like what?
We need to be aware of the risks,
Okay.
take steps to protect our data,
Yeah.
and demand better security.
Like from the companies and organizations that we use.
Exactly, the ones we trust with our information.
So awareness, vigilance, and, like, holding people accountable.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But let's, like, shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And talk about the future.
All right, the future.
What trends in cybersecurity should we be watching out for? Like,
Yeah.
what keeps you up at night?
Well, one major concern
Hmm.
is artificial intelligence.
AI.
Yeah, AI.
I mean, AI has the potential to be amazing.
It does. It really does.
Right. It could revolutionize so many things.
Absolutely.
But it also has the potential to, like...
To be weaponized.
Yeah.
It could make cyberattacks even worse.
So you're talking about, like, AI-powered hacking.
Exactly.
That sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right?
But seriously, what would that even look like?
Well, imagine AI-powered phishing campaigns
Okay.
that can, like, analyze your online behavior,
Oh, wow.
learn how you communicate.
And then send you super convincing messages.
Yeah, personalized just for you.
That's terrifying.
Or AI-driven malware
Okay.
that adapts to your security software.
So it can avoid detection.
Constantly evolving, yeah.
That's a chilling thought.
It is. It's a whole new era.
So how do we even prepare for that?
Right.
What does the future of cybersecurity even look like?
It's going to require a fundamental shift
Okay.
in how we think about security.
Okay, so we need to move beyond.
Right. We can't just react anymore.
Right, we need to be proactive.
Exactly.
Okay.
We need AI-powered defenses.
Okay.
Systems that can learn and adapt,
Right.
predict attacks in real time.
So it's like
Yeah.
fighting fire with fire.
Exactly.
So it's a cyber arms race with AI as the ultimate weapon.
It seems that way, doesn't it?
It's intense.
It is, yeah.
But before we dive headfirst into
Yeah.
the future of cybersecurity,
Mhm.
let's just pause for a second
Okay.
and reflect on what we've learned so far.
Right.
What are the key takeaways?
Yeah, good question.
From this deep dive into the US Treasury hack.
Well, I think this incident really shows us.
Yeah.
Cybersecurity is not just a technical issue anymore.
Right.
It's geopolitical.
Okay.
The physical and digital worlds are completely blurred.
They're intertwined.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
And cyberattacks are a real tool
Yeah.
for countries to use.
So we need to take them seriously.
Very serious.
And it also highlights
Yeah.
how important individual action is.
Absolutely.
We can't just rely on governments or companies.
Right, you can't just sit back and expect them to protect us.
Yeah, we all have a role to play
We do, everyone.
in keeping our digital lives safe.
Exactly.
So as we move into our final part,
Okay.
I want you to think about this.
All right.
What can you do
Yeah, what can you do today
to make yourself and your data more secure?
to protect yourself?
Yeah.
And how can we, as a society,
Yeah.
work together
Yeah.
to create a safer cyberspace?
A more resilient cyberspace.
Exactly.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive.
Yeah.
You know, we've been talking about this US Treasury hack.
Yeah.
We've, gone through the details of the attack.
Yes.
We've explored, what these APT actors are all about, what their motivations are. And now I think it's time to look ahead.
Yeah, to the future.
What does the future hold for cybersecurity?
Right. What does it all mean for everybody out there?
Exactly. What does it mean for you listening right now?
Well, the future of cybersecurity is,
Yeah.
it's kind of like trying to predict the weather.
Okay.
It's complex and always changing.
Yeah.
And you never know when a storm's going to hit.
Right.
So we're seeing all these trends converging,
Okay.
and that's going to totally reshape,
The landscape.
the landscape of threats and how we defend against them.
So, what's on the horizon? What are the big things that are keeping, cybersecurity experts up at night?
Well, one of the big things is artificial intelligence.
Yeah. We
But-
talked about that a little bit before.
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
It has so much potential
Yeah.
to change things for the better, but in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
It could be a really powerful weapon.
For cyber criminals.
Exactly.
So you're talking about, AI that can write phishing emails.
Yeah, imagine that
Yeah.
AI that can analyze your online behavior,
Right.
mimic how you write.
And then craft, super personalized messages just
Exactly.
to trick you.
Yeah, to get you to click a link or give up some information.
That's pretty scary.
Like phishing emails on steroids,
Oh,
basically.
yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So, how do we even fight against that?
Well, we have to move away from this reactive approach to security
Okay.
and become more proactive.
So instead of just, reacting to attack.
Right, we have to anticipate them.
Okay.
We need AI-powered defenses.
Okay, so using AI to fight AI,
Yeah, in a way.
like a digital immune system.
Yeah, I like that.
That can, constantly learn and adapt. But in all of this, what about the human element?
That's a good question because,
Yeah, are we going to become so reliant on AI
right.
that we forget about, basic security practices?
Well, I think human behavior is always going to be a factor.
Okay.
Even with the most advanced AI,
Right.
there are still going to be vulnerabilities,
Yeah.
social engineering tactics.
That prey on human psychology.
Exactly.
Right.
And human error, let's not forget that.
So those are always going to be things that attackers can exploit.
They will find a way.
So user education
Yes, absolutely.
is still important.
Crucial.
It's not just about strong passwords
Right, it's bigger than that.
and avoiding phishing emails anymore.
It's about thinking critically,
Okay.
being aware of what you're doing online,
Yeah.
who you're sharing your data with,
Yeah.
understanding how these attackers are evolving.
So we need to, level up our awareness.
Yeah, basically.
But let's zoom out for a minute
Okay.
and think about, the bigger picture.
Yeah, the geopolitical stuff.
Yeah. Right. We've talked about cyberspace being like...
Right, a battleground.
What's this battleground for different countries?
Nation states, yeah.
So, like, how do you see these cyber attacks shaping international relations going forward?
Well, the lines are getting blurrier and blurrier.
Between the physical world and the digital world.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I think we're going to see more incidents like this Treasury hack where countries use cyber attacks to get what they want.
Whether it's economic espionage.
Yeah, economic espionage.
Political sabotage.
Sabotage, disrupting elections.
Oh.
Even just, like, undermining people's trust.
In institutions, in their governments.
And because it's so hard to prove who did it, it creates this environment where it's hard to retaliate.
Yeah.
And things could easily escalate.
It's a dangerous situation.
So it's like a new kind of Cold War.
Yeah, you could say that.
But instead of missiles and tanks, it's bits and bytes.
It's all digital.
What does that mean for global stability?
Well, are we heading towards, like, constant cyber conflict?
It's definitely making the world more volatile.
Yeah.
More unpredictable.
Okay.
I think one thing that could help is if we could establish some clear international rules.
Okay, like an agreement between countries.
Yeah, about cyber warfare.
So, like, what's acceptable and what's not?
Exactly. Like, what actually counts as an act of aggression.
Okay.
Set some standards for how countries should behave in cyberspace.
Right.
And figure out ways to resolve these conflicts.
But that's a big challenge.
It is.
Getting all these different countries to agree.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Especially these days.
Especially these days.
But let's bring it back down to earth for a second.
Okay, back to reality.
For everyone listening, what can they do?
Right. Given everything we've talked about.
To navigate this crazy digital world.
Yeah, how can they stay safe?
Well, knowledge is power, right?
It is, for sure.
So stay informed.
Yeah, keep learning about cybersecurity.
About the latest threats.
The latest trends.
Yeah.
Best practices.
Be mindful of what you're doing online.
Yeah. Think before you click.
Think before you share.
And be careful about who you trust.
Yeah.
With your information.
Turn on multi-factor authentication.
Everywhere you can.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah. Get help if you need it.
Yeah, there are resources out there.
Exactly. There are people who can help.
It's all about taking control of your own digital security.
So be proactive.
Yeah.
Stay vigilant.
And don't be afraid to, like, question things.
Yeah, have a healthy dose of skepticism.
Exactly.
So as we wrap this up, I think it's important to remember that we're all connected.
We are in this digital world.
What happens in one part of cyberspace can affect everyone.
It can have ripple effects across the globe.
Yeah, it's a global network.
And that interconnectedness. Yeah. It's amazing. It brings so many opportunities.
But it also comes with risks.
It does.
Yeah.
So it's up to all of us.
Individuals, organizations, governments.
Yeah, everybody.
To work together.
To make this digital world safer.
More resilient, more beneficial.
For everyone.
Exactly. So as you go about your day-to-day life, remember, cybersecurity is not just someone else's problem.
It's all of our responsibility.
Yeah, we all have to do our part.
Stay informed, stay vigilant.
And together, we can build a safer digital future.
I believe we can.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.